Good Thursday afternoon to you. Welcome to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH. It's a pleasure to be with you and a pleasure to be with my co-host. We have the whole crew all back together. Dwight, we missed you. I'm going to start with you. Welcome, my friend. Dwight Millard, Highlands Mortgage. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to be back. Thanks for the night off. I got to know a little bit more of corporate people.
Yeah, that's what we said. We said you were out hobnobbing.
I was.
Yeah, exactly.
I go right for the top.
There you go.
I don't mess around.
Don't mess around at the bottom. That's right.
Nope. I go right to the top. What favors can I get?
I like it. Nothing wrong with that one at all. Cory Edge of Edge Realty. How you doing, Big C?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Good, buddy? Doing good. Thank you. Doing good. All right, folks, let's get down to it. We got a lot of things to get through with you. Of course, we're going to talk about today's stock market activity, a little bit of a weak session. So, of course, we'll give you all the details as to what happened today. We're going to talk a little bit about Dwight's favorite measure the Fed's favorite measure of inflation tomorrow, the PCE, the personal consumption expenditure. Yeah, that could rock the market one direction or the other if it starts to show inflation's raising its ugly head. Then we are going to get down to our real estate topic of the afternoon. And this is going to be a good one. You know, folks, I'm sure you've heard this saying before, and that is, if your marriage can withstand a home remodel, your marriage can withstand anything. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. You know, we have the mortgage rates coming down. We got interest rates coming down in some parts of the yield curve. But the most important, of course, for tonight, the mortgage side is not coming down like we, all wanted. We knew this was going to happen, but it's something we've got to deal with. And Dwight's going to enlighten us, of course, on that. But because these mortgage rates are not coming down, many of you may be going, I really, really want to make 2025 the year that we go out and we find that new home, that dream home of ours. But I can't qualify, or maybe I just don't want to pay these higher rates. So therefore, we're going to stand pat. We're going to stay where we are for maybe another year or two and then come back and revisit it. Well, we all know when you get to that point in your life where you're like, I really want to move. I need a change. I need more space, less space, whatever the reason for your move, and you can't do it, you get frustrated. Well, here's a potential solution, and that solution is a home remodel. But before you embark on the world of home remodel, we want to save your marriage for you. And I mean that in all seriousness. So we've put together a checklist for you of 7 things to consider so that your marriage survives a home remodel. And so this is going to be really fascinating because those of you that have never been through a home remodel, I want to get Cory and Dwight, I want to get your opinions, but I have been through not a major one, but one that started with, we want to expand our walk-in closet. Well, expanding the walk-in closet, which of course is in the master bedroom, requires that, all of a sudden can't have a nice closet and a lousy bedroom. So now we embark on remodeling the bedroom. Well, of course you can't do that because now you got to do another bathroom. And then that led to the kitchen. And so what started as just a little home remodel, probably I don't remember, $3,000-$4,000 remodel of a walk-in closet, turned into I don't remember the final numbers, probably $50,000-$60,000 remodel by the time it was all said and done. And you talk about a challenging time with a spouse. And so, again, if you haven't been through this, I can't wait to hear the stories from Cory and Dwight. You're going to find out how good your marriage really is. And again, I'd heard that saying many times, and I swear on a stack of Bibles, it is so true. If your marriage can withstand that, by all means, it can probably withstand anything. Cory, any personal experience? I know you've dealt with it with clients, but any personal experience of going through a home remodel and to validate or invalidate our topic this afternoon?
Well, we set out 7 kind of criteria of how to get through it, and your story that you just told, you broke all 7. Like you did not.
It really did.
You hit every single one of them.
Every single one of them. You're right. Every single one of them it did.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard not only from the client side, I've had it, we've gone through it personally. I have a lot of friends that are contractors, so the other side of the story is always interesting because, a lot of people don't think about it, but the contractors get put in a very interesting situation because they're in the middle of the fight. Not that they're fighting, but they got to hear both sides.
So right.
I was talking to my buddy just last week. He's a general contractor. He's like, we clean up at the end of the day. This is happening right now at one of his jobs. We clean up at the end of the day, but when we show up the next day, all their stuff and the kids' clothes and dirty, like everything's on. So we got to clean their house and then do the work, then clean our. And so it's a trying time for everyone.
Yes. And you just brought back memories, and then you're complaining to the contractor, you're tracking stuff in the house. You got drywall dust on your boots, and oh man.
Yeah.
All right, Millard, Lay it on us. What's your experience?
I would say the only thing worse than that, John, is when you're the soccer coach and your spouse is the ref. That's the only other time that it probably gets worse. That was the worst. Yep. I haven't done a remodel. I've done actually build, from the ground up. Probably not any easier. Probably
I was
worse.
Going to say, they say that's actually easier. Yeah, I've heard.
You just got to kind of back off and just let it go, type of thing. I mean, Cory and I got into a little remodel rehab job, remember? And that was stressful, all four of us.
Yeah, well, we almost died,
caused two marriages.
But before you glance over the story, Dwight, please continue with the soccer coach, soccer ref story, because that is a good one.
You can't yell at the ref.
I remember that. That was years ago.
Oh, yeah. No.
But what happened? Tell everybody what happened, Dwight.
Don't you ever do that to me again or I quit.
No. I thought when you told me the story with your wife was the ref, you were the coach, and you started arguing with her and she kicked you out of the game.
Threatened to kick me out.
Gave you a red card.
He only threatened. No, I threatened to kick me out.
Threatened to kick you out.
Then I behaved. Yeah.
And I behaved. I was a good boy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the ride home? Like,
I can't.
Poor little kids in the back of the car.
Did you sleep on the couch that night, or?
Yeah. So probably a remodel is probably a little easier, John.
Yeah, probably.
But I think you can almost identify that out of the gate. If just in daily life, if you see something, different, like for example, I think I said, if we pull up next to a Harley, I go, man, thing's cool. I want one. My wife goes, that's dangerous. Why would you ever ride on the back? So you can kind of get where you're going to groove, in the remodel. I mean, I think you should know where you agree and disagree.
You for saying that, but I couldn't do it. Because me being the money guy of the family, it was like you're put in such a tough spot because deep down, you want something nice, right? If you're going to do it, do it nice. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden, this famous, what does CO stand for, Cory?
Certificate of Occupancy.
And what else when it comes to a contractor?
CO?
A CO. Change order.
Oh, change order. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Change order.
Yes.
Here, Mrs. Sanchez, sign right here that you wanted to change this, and $3,000 later, or sign here, Mr. Sanchez. That's going to be another $5,000. And before you know it, what I used to love is coming home from the office. Because I come home from the office and she goes, you know what? You know how when you left this morning, we were going to do this, this, and this? Well, I changed it while you're gone. I'm sure you don't mind. And here's the stack of change orders. And you're like, another $15,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it was constant. And the other thing I felt was it never ended, right? You build a house, like you were saying, Dwight. Okay. It's going to take 6-9 months, whatever it is. But with a remodel, and unfortunately I made the mistake. I hired a guy. He was a one-man operation, didn't have any assistants. So, and he was not a spring chicken. He was about, mid-60s, but, been doing it for a million years, really good at what he does, but not the fastest. And so, unfortunately, a lot of his billing was on an hourly basis. Yeah, I'll, change that or move these plugs or whatever. But he goes, okay, it's going to be 4 hours at $100 and whatever dollars an hour. And you're like, dude, go hire some assistants at, minimum wage to lug the drywall up and down the stairs. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
And, it was an experience. That's the only one I've ever gone through. I've never gone through a brand new home build, and that was the only remodel I ever did, and probably the last one I'll ever do, because it was too challenging.
I'm sure there's a lot of stories where they've had to rip it all the way out, John.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Rip it all the way out. Take it all the way down.
That's right. Exactly. Yep. And then, matter of fact, I think you're right on that one too, Dwight, because they found mold when he took the drywall off in the bathroom. There was some mold there. So yeah, that opened up, as Cory knows about mold situations.
I got some friends right now had a little I got one going behind the washing machine. Well, now everything in the kitchen, it's all, and no running water down. It's everything.
Times. Yep. So all of you that are going to do this, we're going to be marriage counselors for you. We're going to help you save, and hopefully Cory can give us and Dwight some ideas how we can finance it on the Dwight side. Some things to deal with on the contractor side. 'Cause that's an art. We need to do a whole show on that one, Cory. That's an art in and of itself, is dealing with your contractor. So lots of fun stuff. We'll come back and talk about something that wasn't so fun today, unfortunately, which was the stock market. But we'll tell you what's going on. Let's turn it over to Kristen Snow. She is in the Right Now Traffic Center. Hello, Kristen. Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on Newstalk KOH with Cory Edge, Realty, Dwight Millard of Highlands Mortgage. All right, here's the damage that was done today, and then we're going to get into our topic: 7 things to consider so your marriage can survive a home remodel. All right, we have been talking at length on this program, both when Cory and I were together with you on Tuesday, Jason and I together with you on Monday and Wednesday, and now today, there's some underpinnings going on in this market. And we've given you all the facts behind it. You're getting some Jerome Powell's comments the other day, and again, just paraphrasing, the market is slightly highly valued, I think were his words, right, Cory?
Yep.
You're getting quite a few money managers now that are starting to say it. And like Jason and I were strategizing, we made some pretty significant moves in our portfolios today. Remember, this is a great lesson. Remember, the market is a hypochondriac, folks. The market will talk itself into whatever it wants to do. If it thinks this market's overvalued, whether it is or not, from a mathematical valuation, whatever reasons you want to use, it can talk itself into it, or vice versa, right? And so remember, the market moves like a herd of sheep, right? The algorithms and so on and so forth. One does one, here comes everybody else. So we saw, weakness. We've seen weakness all day this week, and today was another day. The other factor, once again, that we've been discussing is watching the whole situation on the AI sector. Right, it started on Monday with a big announcement, the $100 billion announcement between OpenAI and, of course, OpenAI and NVIDIA. And now, as we discussed on Monday and Wednesday, and I think, Cory, you and I touched on that word circular accounting, and just some things are not sounding right the way the deal's kind of financed. And then we did some more research on it and found out this is becoming very common. That now, no, well, matter of fact, Cory, now we learned yesterday that OpenAI is leasing, quote, quote, leasing the GPUs, the chips from NVIDIA. It's not even a buy. So where's the
Wow.
100 billion going? We found out also that the 100 billion is not right away. It's like there's certain milestones that have to be achieved before they get the money. I mean, the story is just unfolding. And bottom line, Wall Street doesn't like that. It's uncertainty, right? Like, really, what's going on? All of us that have gray hairs, we all remember what happened in 99 and 2000, and of course 08, 09, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to go into it. That's not what tonight's show's about, but that's what's, again, starting to affect things a bit. So we finished down 174 on the Dow. Again, there's nothing major. I mean, 0.38% loss. But again, the underpinnings, I don't like what I'm seeing with some of the big names. NVIDIA eked out a small gain, 41 cents to 177.38. But you had Tesla roll over today, $18.78 loss. Meta down $11.16. So you're getting some of the big tech names that are just starting to give some money back at this point. So that's, again, another area of caution that we need to watch. 174 loss on the Dow, down 13, actually right on the nose, 0.5% loss on the NASDAQ, also a 0.5% give up on the S&P 500. That was a 33-point loss. Oil, what a snoozer, 1 cent gain, 65.01 a barrel. Gold snoozer, $2.50 rise, 3,770, 96 an ounce. And Mr. Millard, you don't like hearing this, 3 basis point increase on the 10-year, now at 4.17. Talk to us, my man, on the mortgage side.
Well, let's go back a week or so ago. Just that Tuesday before we were at 6.13 on the 30-year fixed average, according to Mortgage News Daily. Today you're at 6.39. So that's what is that? 26 basis points increase in just a short period of time. It's struggling. The market's struggling, John. Your 15-year now is back right at the 5.90, and then your FHA is over 6 again, now at 6.06. So I mean, I was reading today a little bit that the auction, the 7-year Treasury auction, was horrible.
Terrible.
But John, who wants it now? Who wants a sleepy bond now when you got all this excitement going on over here?
Yes.
Wait a minute. You want me to come over here and play in this little sandbox where it's totally sleepy? You keep grinding me every month for more money to pay the debt. I mean, right. It's a tough one.
And you're right. And, that's another point that Wall Street doesn't really care a lot about, at least at this point. We got the September 30th deadline, the government deadline.
Yeah.
Past the budget. So, and did you guys see this today? We spend a lot of time, all three of us, talking to each other about the labor market, and things are weakening under the surface a bit. But now they came out today, and the Democrats are saying, you know what? A lot of if the government shuts down on midnight of September the 30th, Trump's going to use this as a reason to permanently get rid of a bunch of, thousands of government employees, right? So that's the speculation. Then again, if you're a bond trader, to Dwight's point, you're going, well, wait a minute here. We've already lost a lot of jobs, more are going to be coming, and now this situation. So you just add that little ingredient to the fire a bit.
Yeah. John, do you see any scenario in the next week or two that I mean, they're already anticipating, right? Rates, they're going to do another quarter in October. Isn't that pretty much baked in?
Yeah. I was going to bring up. I got the latest probability from the CME Fed Watch tool. Right now, the probability of a 0.25% cut in October. Yesterday it was 91.9. Today it's 85.5. So still very strong. The odds of a December cut yesterday were 73.3%. Now today they're 60.5. Those are big moves down. So when you see a jump, 13-14% like that, that tells you there's a lot of concern about something or a combination of things, right? Instead of going, oh yeah, yesterday it was 73 and today it's 71, big deal, we don't even talk about that. But when you see these kind of, going from the big numbers and still down a bit but still strong, now everyone, I promise you next week, in my opinion, I can't say promise, but in my opinion next week, I bet you're going to see those odds even go further down. I really do. Now, one thing that can change all that, I'm gonna put a little asterisk here so I don't look like a complete idiot, but I'm gonna put a little asterisk here, and that is tomorrow. Now, tomorrow we're going to get the personal consumption and expenditure. That's called the PCE. That's the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. So it takes CPI, PPI, and a whole bunch of other factors, lumps them together. And that's what the Fed, as I've said a million times, really looks at to determine where inflation is going. They are looking for a bit of an uptick tomorrow. Now, this, of course, is going to be August's data. They're looking for a 0.3% increase from July to August. When you looked at June to July, it was a 0.2% increase. So, another 1/10, but that's a lot when we talk about inflation. We also have personal income and personal spending come out. They always come out just a few seconds before the PCE numbers. I'm looking for personal income to go from a 0.4% gain in July down to just 0.3% increase. Spending flat, up 0.5%. So month over month, not looking for that one to change. To your point, Dwight, if you look forward or look out onto the calendar in the next few weeks, we have non-farm payroll numbers next week on the 3rd. That'll be something that can move. But other than that, there's not really a lot. We're still about 3 weeks away from earnings season to begin. So to your point, yeah, there could be a lot of reasons things just kind of go lax. And remember, for those of you that are market statisticians, this last week of September and kind of around the first week of October, historically, especially that first week of October, historically has not been good for the stock market. And I'm not talking significant declines, but I think 0.5% historically is what it's lost in that time period. So nothing too major. But again, I'm just going to keep bringing up these underpinnings of worried about the accounting going on in the AI sector and so on and so forth. Corey, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think you had a decent unemployment number today, which causes rates to go
Yep.
up. If you get a strong inflation number tomorrow or stronger than expected, that's going to cause rates to go up because the theory is the Fed will just sit back and think unemployment's
Gave you what
okay
you
and
wanted. Be happy
inflation's
with
up.
it.
Yeah. So yeah, who knows? And then, as you mentioned, if you start factoring in a government shutdown, and there was talk today about, well, if the government does shut down, and Trump's different than other presidents, he's not going to give in, he's going to hold tight. So, what reports do you get prior to the next Fed meeting? Like, there's all kinds of stuff in the mix that could
There
happen, and
is.
you never know what it's
No,
gonna,
no.
how it's gonna work out.
Nope. Changes day by day, day by day. And then the last one I mentioned was we saw weakness in Oracle today, which again has kind of been the leader in this whole AI thing. Lost again today, down $13.70 for almost a 4.5% loss. So everyone's watching that closely also. All right, when we come back, let us move into the world of remodel and how to save your marriage if you're going to go through that. First, let's turn it over to Jack Saban. He's got news, traffic, and weather. Hello. Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH with Dwight Millard of Highlands Mortgage, Cory Edge of Edge Realty. Once again, we finished down 1 on the Dow, a negative 113 on the NASDAQ, and a pullback of 33 on the S&P 500. All right. Well, as you heard Dwight mention, we're up 26 basis points, so smidgen above 0.25% on the 30-year mortgage since the Fed cut rates last week. Again, not the way many anticipated it was going to go. We warned you that this could be a strong possibility, and it's holding up. So now many of you are facing this decision. Do I stay in my home, remodel it, or do I go try to find something, maybe pay a little bit more on the mortgage that you don't want to, whatever the case is? Many of you are going, you know what, I'm just going to stay put. I'm going to remodel. So we want to put together this list that is, again, not so much, well, it is monetary. I was going to say not so much, but it is, because we're going to try to help you save your marriage, because there's nothing worse, no faster way to lose your net worth than a divorce, right? So we put together 7 things to consider so your marriage survives a remodel for those that are going to stay in your house. Now, before we get to this, because it's kind of lighthearted, but it's actually good stuff. Dwight and Corey, 2 serious questions. Dwight, very quickly, 1 minute. How do we get some money out of our house to remodel? We need to do it. We need to do it. What's the best way right now?
Yeah, John, there's fantastic programs out there. So you can either do it through a home equity line of credit. FHA has a rehab program. They have one that goes up to 75,000. It's called a limited streamline. It's super easy.
Nice.
And then conventional has their own. VA's got it too. So everybody's got a spin of a rehab. So if you don't want to go the equity line route, you can explore those. Your government, your FHA is probably going to give you a higher loan to value. So if you need to squeeze a little more cash out, that's probably where you're going to get more of it. But they're fantastic programs.
Love it.
But there again, John, you got to trade off kind of what you got going. If your rate's real low, this is so.
Right.
You just got to explore.
Like that's where the HELOC would come in, because you're just going to get a second on the property instead of changing the first. Okay. Cory, real quick, what are you seeing right now as far as improvements that are bringing the best ROI or return on investment?
I mean, you have all the fluff stuff that we went through in COVID, really. The outdoor kitchens, the offices, the private rooms, those kind of things are probably still the wow factors. But to me, it always goes back. The bread and butter's always been bathrooms and kitchens, bathrooms and kitchens. And to your point, when you mentioned earlier, we started with the closet. Next thing you know, the kitchen's remodeled. Like that, that's always the hot point, usually in any house. And then to bathrooms, they'll usually go into typically the master bathroom, because that's where mom and dad usually spend their time, or the guest bathroom, depending on if people are worried about, what it is coming over. But kitchens and baths are tried and true.
What's the hot countertop right now if you're doing kitchen?
Oh man, I don't. There's so many different, and I'm the wrong guy to ask, but there's so many different man-made stones now, and I forget all the different quartzite this and this, that. I don't know what it is, but it's the stone.
Right.
To me, they all look like a granite, even though they're not granite, but it's that solid stone.
Right. Perfect. Okay. Very good. All right. Well, let's get started with our list. And again, we shared our story at the beginning of the show in regards to what can happen in a marriage while you're going through a home remodel. So we're going to try to make sure this doesn't happen to you. So Cory, the first point that you brought up is, and I think this is such a great point, agree on a vision up front.
And it's key. And so before you start calling contractors or calling Dwight or calling anybody, the two people, assuming there's two people making a decision, those people have to be on the same page, because a lot of fights start when you bring over the poor contractor and husband and wife or whoever's together hasn't decided what they want yet. And now you're trying to get opinions from a contractor. Most contractors aren't visionaries, right? You tell them what to build and they'll build it correctly, but they're not really visionaries. So the best thing I've always found, not only in our own personal stuff, but to clients, is go through the magazines. Like, don't be afraid to go spend, I don't know, $100 on a bunch of magazines, look at the pictures, tear out the pictures you like. It's so, at least I found in our stuff, it's so easy to sit down and say, hey, we want our kitchen to look like this.
Yes.
And then the contractor can say, okay, well, we can do that. Maybe we don't have the tile from Italy, but we can get something that looks very similar from, one of the great stores and different things. But if you can help the visualization, then everybody's kind of on the same page and their expectations are all lined in, versus people with different thoughts, if you will.
Right. Absolutely. Save a lot of time up front. And especially if it's a major remodel and you get an architect involved, same thing. Those men and women are not cheap. They're very good at what they do. But the easier you can, or the sooner that you can come to them with a vision, definitely the better off you're going to be on that one. Dwight, I love your second point. Set a realistic budget with a cushion.
Yeah, nothing's worse than running out of money, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I guess the rule is kind of 10 to 20. I'd probably try to lean more to a 20 if you can, because to your point, you're going to get in, you're going to start here, then you're going to realize, oh, that doesn't, we got to go there. So, I mean, I would do a budget and redo a budget, and then I would get maybe some bids, tighten that budget down as far as you can, and then give yourself some room.
Yep.
Cory's, they do this all the time, so they've got a pretty good handle on it, but I can see how husband and wife can just run out of money really fast.
I've had that happen with clients before, and you're right. They're 70% through, and they thought they're going to, pick a number, going to spend $100,000, and they're like, we're 3/4 of the way through. What can we do? How do we finish? Because there's no turning back. And the worst one, I had one a couple of years ago where they finished the project and they weren't watching their budget, and the contractor submitted the final bid or final bill to them. And again, they had all these change orders going through and everything else. They weren't watching it. And I think the final number from the contractor was like, geez, $50,000, $60,000 above what they thought their final bill was going to be. And they're like, what are we going to do? Because remember, folks, you don't want to screw with a licensed contractor. Not a lot of them do this, but legally they can. They have this great power called a lien, a mechanic's lien, right, Cory? You know these well.
Absolutely.
And a good contractor is going to file what's called a preliminary lien on you, meaning he's going to notify the proper authorities. If it's a big remodel, especially, you're going to notify the proper authorities when the job begins. And then his subcontractors, they're going to probably file it. Suppliers, right, Cory? You get in some big numbers on suppliers. They're going to file a lien, or a mechanic's lien. And all it does is just notify the lender, hey, we have a lien, on paper on this remodel project. You need to make sure your contractor, if he's done that or she's done that, that when you finally pay them, they release those liens, right, Cory? How many times have you come across that where people are like, oh my God, you run a title report and there's a mechanic's lien from Jobo Construction 10 years ago that never got released. I mean, that's a mess.
Yeah. Well, and luckily there's some things in the law that help. So they have to prove up that lien within X amount of days. So shouldn't necessarily affect you if it's, yeah. So but they do have lien rights, and a lot of the big contractors, they will pre-lien you prior to even starting the job,
That's the
just to make
Yeah,
sure.
pre-lien.
Exactly. It's don't be nervous, because you will get a certified copy of it.
Yes.
And if people don't know it's coming, it freaks them out. But it's a lot of contractors have been screwed over the years, so this is their way, and it's a very good way to make sure they're going to get paid.
I had a client that I was coaching years ago, big builder up at the lake. I mean, $50, $100 million projects. And I was coaching him, trying to improve his business, performance and operations. And I brought that up. I said, you are filing your prelims and all that, right? He's like, no, I don't do it. And sure enough, I think I jinxed him. About 6 months later, one of the big rich people up there in North Shore screwed him out of oh gosh, it was a lot of money. It was like a couple $1 million. And the homeowner went to him and said, here's your, we call it the honeydew list or the punch list, right? Literally over 100 items that he needed to do before the homeowner released the final chunk of money. And he's like, I can't do these, this is ridiculous. And ended up walking away simply because he didn't follow the prelim and follow the mechanics lien laws. So very serious stuff. Really, even small contractors, they can do it. They got a lot of power when they're a licensed contractor. All right, we'll continue down our list. 7 things to consider to survive your marriage of a remodel. All right, let's wrap it up with Kristen Snow right now, Traffic Center. Hello, Kristen. Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH. Mr. Millard, your phone number, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Edge.
6.
Beautiful. All right, 7 things to consider so your marriage survives a remodel is our topic. All right, covered number 1, you got to agree on the vision up front, what this remodel is going to be about. Number 2, you set a realistic budget and you have a cushion. Number 3, Cory, divide the responsibilities. I love this point you made, because this is, again, another extremely important one.
Well, and it makes it so much easier on everybody. So typically you're going to have 2 people making the decisions. They're both the boss, and you're going to have the contractor. Designate one person to talk to the contractor. You can even tell the contractor, hey, no matter what I say, take direction from my wife. Or no matter what I say, take direction. You want to keep the contractor happy. They want to keep you happy. It just keeps everything easy. If your wife or your husband or whoever is the person that has the vision, then let them pick the stuff and do all this.
And at home, I learned.
Yes.
Because things happen during the day, and if you're not there, the contractor will walk off. So, yeah, if one of you are fortunate enough to, not have to leave the house during the day, that's a good person there.
Yep, absolutely.
Dwight, number 4, compromise on design decisions.
Well, it goes from little tiny paint, it goes from painting the trim to carpet to, whatever it is. Just pick and choose what hill you're willing to die on. There's not very many, let's just be real. There's not very many in
I just say it. Happy wife, happy life.
Happy
just
life.
Say it.
Yeah. Happy. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So, I think I would always default that way and just let her choose and pick, but that's the easy route. Yeah. There's just going to be so many things. Just compromise. If you can. That's just. And
it sounds strange to those of you that haven't been through it, but you will find that even though you're married to this wonderful person, you may not see eye to eye on certain colors or design aspects. Oh, I love that one. Okay, Cory, I love your next point too. Maintain a sanctuary space. Boy, this is a good one.
Yeah. So this whole conversation is usually around a remodel in a house you're living in.
That's right.
Husband, wife, kids, whoever else is there. You can imagine how, especially when you're doing a kitchen or their main bathroom or all these things. So yeah, you either have to have a big budget to go to a hotel for a while, or you've got to set up a space. And like, for instance, we're talking about getting our hardwood floors redone. So I was talking to the guy, I'm like, what am I going to do for 3 weeks? I got kids. She's like, well, Hawaii's always nice. I'm like, well, now that's quadruple the budget though. Right. Like, I'll just go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, but you got to have some sanity. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course the filth, right? You're living there, and you're dealing with dust, and like I said, drywall dust, and every bit of thing you can imagine. And Lord knows there's a lot of sloppy contractors, and yeah, and have that talk with your contractor. Lay those rules out from the beginning. You are to, like you were saying off air, Corey, your buddy that's big into this, he cleans up every single day, right? Make sure they clean up every day. Not they don't leave Gatorade bottles, sitting on your bed.
Yes.
And I mean, it's a mess.
But John, it's funny because when the window guys show up, the lawn guys, my wife goes crazy. Oh, they're
Yes.
here. Imagine a remodel. It's just not a lawn guys or a window guys. I mean, they're going to be in
Everything.
your house. They're destroying it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got it. All right. So we maintain our sanctuary space. Number 6, Corey, or Dwight, I'm going to give you this one.
Yeah.
Communicate
Yeah.
daily without blame.
Well, here's your opportunity to get back and reconnect, right? I mean, you can talk, get off the phone and talk. Now, I mean, it sounds simple and easy, but you really need to just you need to have a safe space to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we can't just
10 minutes
blow
a
up
night.
here.
Sit down with your spouse.
Yeah. It's 2 minutes in it. We can't get in an argument. Let's just talk about it. What's going good, what we need to work on, and things like that. But yeah, great suggestion.
All right, Corey, in 10 seconds, keep the romance alive.
Yeah, and this goes even outside the remodel. Keep the romance alive. The date nights, always just remember you're on a journey, right? So eventually this will end. You'll get to look back on it, just like you're doing now. You get to look back and laugh on it,
laugh
right?
about
So
Yeah, absolutely.
it'll be over eventually. Hopefully you're with the same person when you're laughing about it, but
I hear you.
who knows?
Oh, that was a lot of fun, boys. Great job as always. We'll see you tomorrow on the Jon Sanchez Show. God bless. Have a great afternoon.